Are you ready to hear all my pings? I couldn't have timed that closer on purpose. That was amazing. Tonight's gonna be another one of those weird nights where, due to my own schedule and the way that things worked out, I did not get my announcements done. So we're gonna see what kind of crowd actually comes in. But there's a decent chance that we're gonna end up like cutting out in the middle of Signalis and doing something else. You have got to be kidding me. Let's take a look here. Alright, my mic is working. Discord can't tell though. That's cool. Thanks, Discord. Appreciate you, Pam. Jeez. Alright. Let's do this. Oh. I suppose while we're sitting here, I'll get those announcements put out. It has been a productive day, and yet I feel like I got nothing done. We've been burning the candle at both ends, and I just woke up from a 3-hour nap after kind of running my head into the wall all day. Oh no, I just realized what kind of a puzzle game this is. Speaking of running my head into walls. But yeah, I've been working on archiving my works here, and it hasn't gone the smoothest. Looks like that timer countdown went a little quicker than I expected. All right, cool. I'm actually not still fully prepared. I'm quite literally just waking up. Milky Taro walked in here and said, "Hey, are you streaming tonight?" I'm like, "Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, no," and immediately started scrambling to get everything together. So we got coffee brewed. We got half of a set of announcements out, and I still don't have my meds ready here. What dis? What dis? This be a puppy, a green glow dog on the internet. We are going to be streaming some more Signalis tonight, which is a horror game reminiscent of Dino Crisis, Resident Evil. What's the other one? The other big one, Capcom. What do you make? Come on, I know this. Pyramid Head, Silent Hill. That's the one. Reminiscent of that era of gaming, but it is 2.5D semi 3D mixed perspective game that makes a lot of use of like messing with perspective and your sense of time and space and even self. So looking forward to that. Still getting my stuff together. Please do bear with me. I need to... Oh no. I have spent so much time today, in total roughly 7.5 hours already working on stream stuff, just trying to make certain that we don't lose VODs, because we've been losing VODs. I don't even know the correct count right now. It's around a dozen, roughly, somewhere in the mid-30s. I got extremely unwell, and we lost a lot. Kinda sucks. Hackermans. So yeah, we've got... I don't know, there's 76 files out of my 79 episodes, or 73 episodes, and a bunch of those are like episode part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because Diablo 4 was an absolute mess. And so like there's a good chunk in the middle there that even though the number bigger, we don't actually have the complete number of episodes. We don't even have... I don't even know how many we're missing. But if you folks haven't seen it yet, please go take a look at the YouTube. My old Sandwife YouTube has been a little bit facelifted today. We've got the first episode and one of the clips up today, and we'll be continuing to update as time goes by. 5 more episodes are already queued up and scheduled to be releasing every night at midnight until we start to catch up to the current roster. And at that point, we'll see if we're gonna like leave it behind or just let it maintain like the ongoing thing. But oh, it's been a day. It's already been a day, and we haven't even started. Let me grab ye old rolling tray. Uh-oh, I'm receiving messages. Oh, jeez. Okay. Ye old rolling tray. Death should not have taken the... Oh, don't mess with that, don't mess with that, don't mess with that, don't mess with that. Oh, computer... Computer, why? Computer, why am I like this? Computer, hack me. Computer, how do I self-hack? How do I hack my own cyber brain? Yeah, we're absolutely not together here enough yet to have me do my thing. And I know that I just like threw those announcements out anyway, so I know that a lot of folks had no idea I was even going to be streaming today. So woo, party! We're going to be struggling. On top of that, yeah, Signalis has some puzzles. A lot of them. Turns out, game more of a puzzler than a survival horror, because you're going to spend way more time with your ear cocked to a radio inside your skull, listening to random German radio broadcasts counting down in French and Japanese. Why? Because Signalis. One of those moments where I legitimately do wish that my set of interests when it came to language learning when I was younger had never been deterred because these are all languages that either I had an interest once in speaking or was actually actively speaking and no longer do because various things happened. Pro tip, folks, don't get hit by a car and don't do stupid things with guns. You'll end up completely forgetting and squandering so much of your life. Oh, oh, what a night. What a night. Dodge cars. Switch sources over here. Do. My avatar is sitting here doing the Pikachu surprised face. Ah, your call cannot be completed as dialed. We're back to this again. God, the ambience in this is so spooky. I love it. Make certain that my chat's in the right spot here, though. And let's also get monitoring up over on the side. Nice. Nice, nice. Ad starting. Oh, okay. I guess we got the ad starting in a second here, too, so I'm gonna be a sec. Let's see. We'll leave this on Mission Obscure, but we're gonna change the track. All right. Ad in progress. Okay, well, it works for me. I'll enjoy a sip of my coffee. Got messages coming in from cuties. Ad still in progress. Jeez. Okay. Oh, jeez. We're still going? We're still going. You know what? We're just gonna start the thing because I don't feel like sitting around waiting. I already get the feeling that I'm gonna have to bail on this game partway through. I just don't have the brain energy for it today. Alright, so last we left off, Elster jumped down into a hole and found another replica. Bloody hell, one sec. Oh, this body, come on. Give me synthetic body soon, please. Please. Throw me in one of these Elsters. I'll fly to the moon. Bloody hell. Alright. Elster encountered another replica named Myrna, or Mina, I didn't get a chance to really read it, who seemed to have a running infection that was attacking her organic components the same way that they've been attacking the other replicas that we've run across. But instead of it just being a large growing mass of like muscle and tissue trying to breathe, Mina's blood seemed to be running itself into like organic circuitry that ran across the floor and was waking up the corpses of other replicas that it was finding nearby. And her face kept pouring out like blood. And again, we're playing a horror movie, a horror game here, so apologies. But yeah, normally when we've seen stuff like that as Elster, her visual like sensory suite has been blocking out a lot of information on stuff that would be considered distressing or traumatizing. And it's interesting noting in some of the stuff where she's like looking at other damaged replicas that are in the area, and she'll say to herself, like, it is hard to look at this person, like, is actually having trouble parsing what she's seeing. Not in the sense that like this is a complex image to process, simply that it is psychologically distressing to do so in the first place. Well, you'll regret this. I bet I will. Okay. Last we left off, we had one inventory slot, some thermite stun prods, a little bit of ammo in the pistol, a maintenance key. For a member of the service cadre, opens a maintenance door on the service level. The Plate of Eternity, some revolver ammo, an eidetic photo module, which I'm curious about, like, that has to be a puzzle item, but I don't know what it's going to be for. Okay. We are still mildly injured. AR 2309 maintenance service level 5 cycle 93. Huh. It is interesting to note that the different AR automated replica assistant repair, something like that. EIN 12 Flechette 112. You hit multiple targets at once, low damage but high chance to stagger enemies at close range. Oh. Low damage but large magazine capacity and high rate of fire. Okay. I didn't realize that the shotgun was like lower damage overall. Right. We entered a new place and everything's terrifying. Some kind of fuse box. An engine. What looks like a locked door? Okay. What did we just walk into? Okay, that's a new symbol. The thing I forgot to set up with. I need a pen. I need my notepad that I've already been recording this information into. I need my light turned on so that my VTuber can see what she's doing. And I think I'm starting to warm up. Don't need my blanket on me. My coffee's doing its job. So one of the things I ended up doing when I was watching the VOD and getting some clips made of our last playthrough, our first playthrough of Signalis, there was some stuff that the game flashed at us that there was no way I was going to be able to like keep track of while also being a subject in the audience to what was being shown to us. And so we had an intro sequence where 3 5-digit numbers were broadcast in quick succession. And I was running around going, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, trying to find something to write those numbers on, expecting there to be a much longer string. And I still, like, I couldn't parse those at the time. I think I got, like, 3 numbers out of 15 saved. But, I got those written down. And there was some more stuff that I saw, and I'm not sure, like, how much of it I need to point out now, and how much of it I'm going to want to just, like, hold on to as fun spoiler stuff for later. Because the artistic style of this game involves a little bit of, like, the sense of discovery and terror. Like, information makes you feel safe, and you're not being given a whole lot of information for a reason. So, we found 5 keys while we were walking around, and they were tied to fire, earth, air, water, and gold. But in the intro video, there was actually a 5th symbol, and it happens to be the one that we carry the plate for in our little storage locker, the infinity plate. And all 6 of those things combine together into a giant, like, honeycomb symbol. And in the middle, there's a 7th hollow, another hexagon, and I don't know what goes there. But everything's arranged, and I'm not sure if the fire symbol that we had before is the same fire symbol that is for the sequence that I'm seeing from the future, but we'll see. Also, we have new sigil on the wall here, and I'm wondering if it's the symbol for infinity. It looks like single large line. Oh, jeez, I gotta do that a lot cleaner. Okay, so single large line, 3 small dashes underneath, 2 lines, 1 is a dash, 3 again the same way as the second row, and 3 more, although the last row seems to be off slightly. We have another 5-point X. And what appears to be a box with a slash through it. So I'm not sure what that one's gonna mean. I know that that's an international flag symbol for, like, a direction thing, too, when it comes to aeronautics. So, interesting. We also have another floor down. We have a door that goes here. Let's see what's in here. Even more people. Postbox key required. I'm trying to... Did I ever pick up the postbox key that we saw that was attached to that key breaker? So we found, like, a door key ultrasound thing. There's a lockpicking kit, but, like, super futuristic. I loved it. Alright. So we need a box key to open this. And it's all tied to our name. The admin's still watching us. The elevator's out of order. Thank you, dear. The lock is defective. She's trying. Valid down. Valid east. Valid north. It's locked. Owl key required. It says flood overflow. Stork. Security technician, controller replica, Stork. Bouillon, Wild Brennan. Bouillon will burn. Oh, Weird Brennan. So that must be the other civilization that isn't the Empire. Pick up ammo. Picked up ammo. Angry note. I'm officially sick of the Euless next door. They've been listening to that stupid song non-stop since the piano room was locked down. If I have to hear it one more time, I'm going over there and I'm smashing that stupid tape recorder to pieces. I wonder if there's any way we can borrow a key so we can get into their dorm and put an end to this madness. I don't care about breaking quarantine if it means to never having to hear that song again. So, replicas do use fans the way that organic beings would. I see. Replica Overview Star. Security Technician Guard Replica, Starling. Generation 4 low-cost combat unit. Biomechanical with polyethylene shell and bullet-resistant armor plating. Wondered about that. The standard mod... Wait, 220 centimeters? Dang. The standard model of the Protector Security Technician, Big Woman. Fitted with extended legs, Star units gracefully tower over most gestalts. Despite their heavy armor, they can move swiftly with their long stride. Their cool and detached demeanor allows them to analyze situations with objectivity and deploy force as required. Trained in close combat and riot control techniques, they operate at best in small squads led by an officer star unit equipped with a ballistic shield. It would be nice to have one. The audio pressure of walking into this room. Wow. Because I can hear it resonating in my own skull against the audio of the force ambience. Ammo. Nice. Okay. STCR dorm, clean room hallway. Let's try going down the floor, because that's a lot. Another floor down. This place is huge. It unlocks from the other side. Rotfront. Hope for the future. Rotfront. It's also unlocked on the other side. Okay, so... what? We're gonna go over to that storage unit and put away this revolver ammo. So it's not gonna come in handy right now. My lungs are not happy with me today. I don't know how well it's gonna work, but we're gonna try. Definitely not interested in fighting one of those again. Okay. We managed to make it through that with only using one shot. Not bad. Lighting malfunctions to service cadre from ARAR S2316. Due to a recent incident involving a certain starling that shall remain unnamed, I've adjusted all doors to require visible light to open. Oh no. This should hopefully stop any more non-service cadre personnel from endangering themselves by stumbling into dark rooms until we can take care of the lighting issues. If you've been assigned an illumination failure repair task, remember to equip a flashlight module so the door sensors will let you in. Ask Adler ahead of time if you need one. He's usually in his quarters on the 8th floor these days. Did I even take damage during all that? I didn't. Nice. Good. Handy. Another note. Replica overview ARAR. All-purpose repair work from replica Macaw. Oh, the ARAR is called the Macaw? That's cute. Generation 2 low-cost general purpose. Biomechanical with titanium reinforced polyethylene shell. Height 185 centimeters. The top worker bees of the construction and repair industry. One of the early replica designs, simple but efficient autos are usually the most produced replica type to date. Are actually the most. Okay. These strong and heavy worker units are a perfect fit for work in construction and production of industrial goods. In many places throughout our nation, otters have already replaced all Gestalt workers in fields like climate forming and explosive ordnance disposal. That's not cool. That's super not cool. Ow, 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 ow. Body, please. Ow. Woo! The Paternoster lift seems to be powered down. I wonder if there's a way to turn it on. Workshop key required. Okay. The lock is defective. Cannot be opened. Okay. We never did make it into surgery. Or try to enter the other cleaning room. I don't want to just walk past all these, but I did already torch their bodies, so... Well, that sucks. Okay. Hmm. I don't want to waste it. Nothing should be wasted. There's so many resources that are hard to get a hold of in this. And it sucks that like I again naturally just kind of like ran past that one game design wise, came back, got myself hurt because like didn't need to be that way. Also, bloody trail leading down into hole or bloody trail leading out of hole. Etha, I'm afraid the commander won't receive any visitors at the moment. But perhaps I can be of assistance. Who are you? I'm the administrator of this facility. Please, there's no need to be afraid. I'm just here to help. Erica, none of us are here by choice. That's what that symbol means. One sec, I need to add that to my notes. Oh, wait, that's a different direction. Okay, we'll be fine. No space to carry repair spray. Okay, so that star. Security technician guard replica star. Oh. Paymont, heart of the of the revolution. Unlock the door. The administrator's office was on level 8, and we're going to keep running into rooms with darkness until then. Fun little homage to Metroid there. Ain't that? Respiratory system giving me some problems. Oh, geez. What do we got in here? People all eating each other and stuff. If I want to step past you and read that documentation, I gotta shoot you. I'm sorry. I don't want to deal with either of you. Kitsa awaits liberation. A fuse? Well, we needed that. To S23 Protector Accommodations Management, Euler ST308. To S23 ARAR 2314. Item, high voltage fuse. Your order for this replacement part has been approved by process by S23 Management. Please find and close the requested part for installation. Falk has specifically requested that the repair of this looping lift be prioritized over other repairs. Please replace the fuse as soon as possible, as it is a huge hassle for everyone to get around without it. Okay. What's the red dot? The door is locked with a reinforced rolling shutter gate. I need a fitting shutter gate handle to open it. Hello? Can I sneak past you? Is it possible? Darn. Perfect dead-eye shot. Bullseye. Good job. S2323. S2323 Hunter. You were good at what you did. We are running low on everything. I don't know if there's an item hidden over there, but I don't have the ammo to try and find out. So how long do I have to wait? Oh, that might be how long I have to wait. Okay. Music got less spooky. Bye! Whoa. That is some information. I'm kind of curious what else they're going to throw at me for information, because there was more there than back 201, 200. Give out. Steer 159. Are we being hacked? What are you here? Why are you here? It is hopeless. I can't read German, and definitely not this fast. Holy cow. 104. Oh dear. There's a keyhole in the painting. A painting of a strange island. Somehow it feels very familiar. That was a lot of very interesting stuff being thrown at us. I have no idea what most of that was. That was terrifying. Okay. I hope you feel better someday, bud. What do we got for... We got, like, no ammo left. Okay. If we find a key... So we got a fuse and some repair patches. So, 60? No. Wait, did I just, like, manage to guess that? Oh, I see. So it's 100 off there. Erda? Sa. Why is that one a CE? So red is plus, blue is minus. And these are just like wide open. I don't understand power systems well enough to know what I'm doing here. Is this rated to 230? Is that what I'm getting out of this? Well, I don't know how I figured that out, but hey, we brute forced it. Looks like an engine repowering a looping paternoster lift system. Let's go save. We didn't make the best use of our resources and abilities here. I don't even care. Allows recording of up to 6 visual memories. Can I use the photo module to see in dark places? Dining room, building shutter gate, piano hallway. Piano hallway? Could run all the way through here again, too, I suppose. Another one of these showed up. Handy. Oh, it's the same one. Okay. Well, works for me. These two are still shimmering on the floor, which is concerning. We going down. I'm yelling timber. You better move. You better dance. Oh, right. Can go even lower. Oh. Minorite Nuclear Technic Hornshire Hearts Replica. Mina. Mining Nuclear Tech High Security Replica. Generation 3 Industrial Specialist. Biomechanical with high security reinforced armor plated servo shell. 260 centimeters. I wish this wasn't in the middle of the horror music. When it comes to dangerous cargo, heavy machinery, and hazardous environments, no other model rivals the MNHR Mina units with their high security power armor bodies. Even in lethal radiation, under crushing pressure, and in zero-G, they keep their calm demeanor and show exemplary teamwork. Despite their hulking bodies, underneath their face shields a standard Generation 3 cranial construction can be found, making maintenance and social interfaces as easy as with any other replica model. Please note that the MNHR neural pattern is not suited for combat use. For combat applications, the SAPR variant should be used, which employs a combat-capable persona in the same frame. For more information, see Square Anti-Panzer Replica Schnapper. Falk, Operational Command Control Unit Replica Falcon, Generation 6 High-Tech Bioresonance Command Unit. Biomechanical with polyethylene shell and bullet-resistant armor plating, height 250 centimeters. The Protector Fumros Commando, Commander, head of each Eon Facilities Protector Force, a powerful prototype bioresonant Falk unit. An authority that may never be questioned, a Falk unit serves not just as a commander to the Protectors, but as a nearly godlike being, a perception that is underlined by her tall build and resemblance to our nation's leaders, the Great Revolutionary and her daughter. It is also aided by her powerful prototype bioresonance module, which not only allows her to bend the will of weaker minds and fathom their intentions and emotions, but also grants her the ability to manipulate objects from a distance. Whoa. That's terrifying. Hi. Should really use the storage unit right now, jeez. Oh, well, I guess that works. Falk's Diary. I do not know how much longer I can go on. I do not want to live any more as what I have become. The red eye beyond the gate showed me, no, touched me, poisoned me. It feels like my mind has been contaminated, defiled by another person's memory. I am no longer fully myself anymore, but I've not fully become someone else's either. I'm stuck here between her and me, with half-formed dreams and recollections penetrating my brain and tainting my every action. Who is she? Who is that white-haired girl? Why do I long to see her again? Why would she curse me like this? What are you holding? A heavy box fashioned to look like an owl. There are small holes at the top looking like a speaker or a microphone. Huh. Alright. We'll be back for you, I suppose. So many things. Really need a storage unit. Ooh. Ooh. We're gonna need this. There we go. An orrery showing a rotating view of the current relative position of the inhabited world of the solar system. Interesting. Briefing room and the star map. Wonder what I do in here. Too dark. It's locked. Library key required. Well... Hummingbird key required. We got owl key and hummingbird key. Artificially induced stress. But walking slowly is less likely to upset them. Run! Ow! Keep running. Ow! I needed that gate. It's the mineshaft access elevator. I need the administrator's key to call it. Of course you do. Ah! Let's go put some stuff away. Like, having the stun prod. Well, I guess having the stun prod would probably be useful right now. Thermite isn't going to be quite so helpful, though. And I don't think we're going to need to hold Eternity on us at all times, as much as I would like to. I also get the feeling that that's kind of a bad idea, storyline-wise. You know, just a thought. My taco is attempting to disassemble itself without my assistance. Unfair. Rude. Alright. Look, I didn't handle any of this well, so I'm not going to save right now. There's a decent chance I'm going to have to run through all this again. The rolling shutter gate is there. if I decide to take this route. Eagle key required. Replica overview Adler. Administration, data processing, logistics replica Eagle. So you have Falcon and Eagle. And I'm assuming the Falcon's actually supposed to be higher if it's a tier 6 and this is a tier 5 robot. Biomechanical polyethylene shell and titanium skeleton. One moment. An integral part of every protector for Commando is the administrator unit. A single Adler unit can manage and oversee all administrative tasks for an entire facility, freeing other operational command units to focus on the direct control of protector units. The Adler is designed to work as a direct counterpart to the Falk unit, serving as her adjutant by taking care of necessary paperwork and calculations. Don't think that worked. It's got a flashlight. Makes the user more visible to enemies when turned on, but allows to see and interact with objects and doorways in dark rooms. Of course, everything got much darker. Alright. Now I have to start mapping things. You'll never find the right way to tell you. Have you noticed I've been gone? 'Cause I'm not home to I will carry it along. Oh no, 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 no. Oh no. It went about the worst it could have. I didn't even know you were there. Great, great, cool, love it. Stork. Each cadre of protector security technicians is overseen by a controller unit, the most common of which is the Stork type. One of the tallest replica models, thanks to their extended legs, Storks figure to be and literally keep a constant bird's eye view of any situation, ready to direct and coordinate their assigned security technicians. Their tough, no-nonsense demeanor, though sometimes described as brutal and even cruel, makes them perfect fit as unwavering sentinels of order. Okay, so what did I get out of that room? Ammo. And we lost a lot of ammo and health. This is gonna suck. Cradle of Humanity, Veneta. No space to carry island key. Interesting. Colibri in the management office. One of the Colibris has holed herself up in the management office on the 7th floor. I've seen her and her illusion sitting inside the room crying. Which one is the real one? I think it's because of that painting in there. Whenever I was close to her, I felt like my mind was being assaulted by the image of that island. The sensation was strong enough to make me hurl. Is there a way to neutralize the transmission? Maybe some sort of feedback loop in the frequency of her control signal? Well, we already figured that part out. Yeah, alright. I hate using up healing items like that, but we gotta get this stuff and go. Oh, God. Hmm. Oh, handy. Okay. This is the piano room. Nice. Nice. Very nice. I don't remember if this is Silent Hill or Resident Evil. Good reference. Hey there, Milky Taro. It's good to see you, hon. Owl key. We have so many keys. Love Moonlight Sonata. Also, the fact that the other bot, the replica, was unhappy with hearing this song? Aww. I wonder what made them hate the song so much. I think it's a nice one. Is that? Oh, that's that. Okay. My other meds have kicked in and the munchies have kicked in along with, so I'm like contending with that. Eula. Simple Universal Light Replica Owl. That's what Eula means. Okay. Generation 4 low-cost general-purpose biomechanical with polyethylene shell, 175 centimeters. Eula units are the backbone of the Usena's nation workforce. These elegant multi-purpose worker units are suited for all kinds of domestic tasks like cleaning, cooking, and simple medical and office work. Eulas are highly social and get along well with each other as well as with most other replica models. While unfit for combat, their lightweight frame makes them a prime choice for distant facilities where supplies are limited. Does the frame come into play with, like, material use? We're sitting at full health. I kind of like this idea of, like, running into the next few rooms with just all the keys in my hand so I can open whatever door I want. That would be because I've managed to mute myself. Thank you. Mute puppy. Yep. All right. That is. So some of them need a focus, a locus, a grounding object, something with which to keep themselves chill. And that's interesting. They just want military weapons on their own. Storage units typically have a short temper. Training them in patience early after deployment is key so their neural pattern is less stable than other models. Failing to do so may yield an extremely volatile personality prone to cruelty and violence. A common strategy is pairing them closely with an older star unit. Stork's persona stabilizes by showering or bathing. Books on history or mythology work well as fetish objects. What the hell? I need to fix the torn tape inside the cassette before I can play it. Hmm. One moment. Hmm. Wait a sec. Hmm. Okay. So it's looking like it's going to be a minute before I actually have access. There's no way for us to get back. We're like locked halfway down all this. Hmm. There's nothing in here I can use. Let's go. Wait, can we go up a layer? No. I feel like there's something I'm missing in this room. But I guess not. No, Go back in. We're not done there. There's still things to look at as far as now. Bloody hell. Nothing else in this room. What is that machine? You're just kind of chilling there. Hey there, Busta. How you doing, hon? I don't know. This is the star bedroom. What's the flood overflows back there? Protector archive. Padlock. I have a padlock key. Oh. I think I know what I need to do. And it is not in this room. I need the eagle key, though. Everybody headbatting each other, and it's adorable! The super familiar island. So I go in here now. Is she dead? She looks strangely peaceful lying there. No longer wants to be what she has become. Interesting. It's telling me nothing. There's nothing there. Just terror. Okay. What do I need for this? It's locked. I need a library key. Okay. There's a bunch of spots here. But I think I know the order of what I need to do. PC rebooted. Oh no. Well, welcome back. We're figuring out the order of things. So we have a post box we're supposed to get into. Okay. Yeah, what? Did you ever figure out what was going on with that, bud? Because, like, that sounded pretty concerning. You sound like you're having a pretty bad day. Alright, we are full up on random equipment again. Not so much... I'm just gonna run around you. Wait a sec. Oh, I see. Receiving many messages. Okay, post box. I think this is the one I need. Oh. It's not this? Oh. Oops. Okay, I no longer know what I'm supposed to be doing. Reaction, maybe? Swelling's almost gone, nothing around the eye now. Well, that's good. Let me double check a thing here. B6 staff. Okay. Things are about to get a little bit easier. That's good. I do have to run past these folks again, though. We're just gonna use it. It's gonna be easier that way. Yep. Short barrel, double action, 6-shot revolver that fires 12mm high power ammo. High recoil, strong knockback. That has been bugging me for a minute. Cool. Problem solved. Give me that tape. I'm done with this room. I never want to come back to this room. I am so frustrated with this room. I don't even care about the stun baton. Like, just get me out of here. We have all the guns. I was so excited about finding another snub-nosed pistol, and it was a completely different one. I forgot to unequip the flashlight. Alright, where are we going? Eyes still a little red, but feels okay. Well, I hope you recover soon, hun. Cause yeah, that sucks. I like how our new pistol is also glowing green. Just walk right past that fellow. Works for me. Oh, okay. Really? The fact that, like, Elster is able to just repair magnetic things with just plain old tape is so funny to me. Just gonna casually walk my way over here. It's set up to broadcast the tape deck's input signal on frequency 142. Like a small speaker on the owl. We have to go back to Falk. Oh wow, just saw lightning outside. Ominous as hell. Rest well, hun. So tactile, yeah. You know what? Because I know that we're not going to have access to this song This is absolutely gorgeous, I must say. Also, hey there, Jarvie. I'm so sorry that the second you got here, I immediately needed to take a break. I had to inspect what's going on here, though, and I'm still not entirely sure what I'm experiencing. If it's a external sensory input error, or if it actually is leaking from my roof right now, which is a concern because I'm sitting in front of my laptop. It is good to see you all, though. I love having folks drop into chat. I hope everyone's having a lovely night so far and enjoying the stream. I'm taking a second here to roll myself a little something extra while we're getting ready for the next part of the story, because I think, let's see, we just got a key. What was that key? Well, I'll find it when I get back to the inventory. But, it's like one little thing will be what's blocking you from so many other parts in this, and I know that that's the point, is that you're supposed to be new loaf of bread stuff. Oh, now you want to listen? Now you want to listen. Okay, okay. You're listening to that. You weren't done yet, huh? Sorry, everyone. Jarvie's busy. Do you understand how difficult the game's gonna be if I do this? Oh my god. I hate it. Hummingbird key for the East Suite on the 8th floor. So that's over there. Alright, it's at least on the same floor. It'd be great if I could just turn that down. It's so loud. How about this? I'll put it back when we make it into another safe zone, huh? Oh, what is happening in here? Replica Known Issues Part 1. Previous experience with... You know what? Hold on. Previous experience with these replica models has given us insight into irregularities in their behavior that stem from the original neural patterns used for these units. Due to the sensitive nature of this information, this document should be destroyed after reading. Eulas tend to form large groups that like to sing and dance, as the original neural pattern for this unit was a ballet dancer. Persona degradation can be easily prevented in this unit by making certain that they have access to music through tape players or musical instruments. Always place at least one mirror in Eula dorms, as they have a strong urge to check their own appearance at regular intervals. Eula's persona stabilizes by keeping a tidy appearance and through regular social interactions. Eulas will often organize in groups of roughly 10 units and give each other themed nicknames. Aww! Even though they may seem like quiet simpletons, do not underestimate auras. While they may not show it, they judge those who are rude or unkind harshly, and will quietly share this judgment with their entire cadre. Auras get along best with Eulas, who tend to be patient and friendly, and have a talent for reading Auras' expressionless faces. In many facilities, Auras will construct service tunnels accessible only to them, often under floors and in walls. Oh. Unstable units may retreat into these tunnels. It is not recommended to attempt to retrieve them. So it's the auras that have been coming out after us. Aura personas can be best stabilized by allowing them access to plants to take care of. Ideally colorful flowers or trees. Is there a way for me to save them? Is there a way for me to, like, not use weapons and, like, just give them flowers and stuff? Play music? Like, that would be amazing. Calibri's note. Keep an eye on Adler. He's hiding something from us. There was nothing in his diary, but when I probed his mind, there were memories of an Elster unit working at Sierpinski. There's no record of that model of replica ever being deployed here. In order for a single unit for some survey work in the mine was briefly considered, but no new orders were made due to the commander's sickness. Yo. So... an order was considered, no new orders were made due to the sickness. Calibri, Commando Control Unit Bioresonance Technology Replica Hummingbird, Generation 6. Biomechanical with polyethylene shell and bolt-resistant armor plating. Height 152 centimeters. A marvel of modern technology, the Calibri is the most capable bioresonance unit ever produced. Every Protector Fungrungskommando Falk unit is aided by a cadre of Calibri unit adjutants which can amplify her bioresonance signals as well as produce their own. Despite their diminutive build, Calibris are one of the most effective Protector units. Able to directly influence the minds of replicas and gestalts, extract information non-verbally, and communicate among themselves instantly in the full bandwidth of the senses, the Calibri's bioresonance is the closet recreation of a true hive mind. I'm sorry, hon. I'm sorry. What does that mean? Why are you here? I don't even know why I'm here, and I sincerely don't look forward to beating this and finding out how many things I killed that I didn't need to because there's other ways around it. This would have been assigned to Alina's show. This is our partner's box. This is who we were supposed to be finding. Why did Alina have the library key? Hmm. Jarvie, I really don't. I learned Dutch until I was about 3 years old, and so like my vocab is less than that of a kindergartner in Dutch. German, I only have like an even lesser understanding, unfortunately. I had like a touch up back in elementary school, but never much. Okay, so we've found everything there is to find. Wait a sec. Let's go to floor 5 and save. Varum. My mother says German is wonderful. Oh, why did my family stop teaching me German and Dutch? I'm assuming for the same reason that when I had a kid, they started telling me not to teach my kid to speak multiple languages. They theorized that it mixes up the brain and that this is all wrong. This is all wrong. But they theorize that it mixes up the brain and makes it so that you have trouble formulating and being able to understand your base language. They had no understanding whatsoever of neuroplasticity and the fact that they completely hamstrung me for the rest of my life regarding all language by doing that. Thankfully, in the case of my kid, they've had a chance to begin learning multiple languages from the beginning, and we fought back against the rest of our family because it's like on the other side, the family was already bilingual with English and Spanish, so it's like we're not gonna not do that. Base language, yeah, base language. My family made some decisions, but I mean, like, uh, no, there's no excuse for it. There's no excuse for it. None. My family made choices, and some of them were bad. Yeah, it is healthy for children to learn, and all children should be given access to language at like additional languages at an early point, in order to be able to help them learn more later and think outside just a singular framework because different languages allow the brain to work in different directions, which is wonderful. It allows you to solve so many things socially and like even logistically, engineering, science, technology, everything. Just being able to think in different ways and in different directions is so good for you. That's as much as I hate doing puzzle games, that's exactly why I do puzzle games. Wish you'd learned Finnish when you were younger, as your grandparents were always speaking it. Yeah. The only like bits and pieces of Indonesian that I know from my grandmother are in just food. I only know bits and pieces of words for food. And like in Dutch, I know some clothing and like it's I don't even know like what I don't know and what I do know because it all comes together so little and my Japanese vocab is better. Like I can at least kind of get around and ask for things and try and get information, but like it's still limited to preschool, like not even kindergartner. That's why I wanted to pick up sign, but I found that like between not being able to focus enough attention on a consistent basis to pick up the different alphabets and to do my finger spelling, like then in addition to that, working on my avatar and trying to get it so that she could do finger spelling and finding out that I broke her in the process for the fifth or sixth time, I just kind of learned one sentence in American Sign. Yeah, I think I know which one it is. You doubt it? Hopefully not the one that people told Aki. Be right back, shower. Have a good shower, hon. Hey. Yeah, honestly, like I love seeing everybody opening themselves up to learning more and new things and constantly expanding the horizons. Like that's sign of healthy minds doing healthy things. I love it. Good stuff. Okay, so we need to get to Adler's room. Need to resume your German learning. Whoa! Hello! Hi! Ow! Ooh! Adler's diary. Remember, Calibri tried to read Adler's mind and found something out about Elster. Don't tempt you like that? Oh, okay. Well, there's actual theme music playing, and it's so uncommon in this. That's why I turned it off, because I didn't want to interrupt. So we found Adler's diary. Calibri said that there was nothing in it, but there's obviously something here. I have been fascinated by a peculiar piece of furniture I discovered in storage. A strange box with a removable dial on the front that was confiscated from a worker some time ago. On speaker, so can't hear well. Got it. Let's see. I was instantly drawn to it, though I'm not sure why. When I put my ear on the mechanism, I could hear it faintly clicking, like a clock. Without Calibri's help, it has become much harder to coordinate the logistics cadre. If there's anything good to say about that woman, it is how she knows how to make others respect her orders despite her minuscule stature. I went to see her today, but her room is still locked. Turn up the vibration. I had a dream tonight. Another memory of my Gestalt life, I believe. I was wearing my uniform. There was a young woman. Her hair was white as snow, and I was conducting some sort of test. I had a deck of cards with astronomical symbols on them, and asked her to guess the planet on the card I was holding. I was playing with that mechanical lockbox again. Hold on, what's the dates on these? 1, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so each day I was playing with that mechanical lockbox again, which I'm now sure is some kind of astronomical calendar, when I'm suddenly remembered a conversation I had with another replica when I was inspecting the mining site. However, it was clearly a model I've never seen before, some type of engineer with an orange chest piece. In my memory, she was just another member of our staff, but no such replica was ever stationed on Sierpinski. Replica memory is not the most reliable, they say, but never before have I experienced such a strange phenomenon. Oh, 8421 Alpha. Hold up. 84217 678 9. Is he recording dates in hexadecimal, or did he break? The little enigma of that box could only distract me from the chaos around me for so long. All the box contained was a small notebook, of which all pages turned out to be blank. It has been miserable since her beloved commander has fallen ill. I long for her stern guidance, that overwhelming authority in which she bathes the room. Bravo. More sick, making my work ever harder. How are we meant to shoulder this workload with no reinforcements? My only consolation is that as our protector's staff decreases, so does the workforce we oversee. While more and more replica end up in the hospital wing, Gestalt workers seem to succumb much too fast for any attempts at treatment. Another diary filled for no benefit to my own satisfaction. I have not ordered a new one yet since I spent my saved ration marks on that marvelous-looking fountain pen. But I guess I'll make use of that notebook. So there's another notebook? He has an Elster manual. Elster, Land Survey Ship Technician Replica Magpie. I'm a magpie? Aww. Generation 5 Cosmo Pioneer Specialist, biomechanical with carbon fiber reinforced polyethylene shell and titanium skeleton, height 178 centimeters. A versatile combat engineer primarily designed for orbital service. These tough and stoic loners are best suited as specialist sappers and scouts. Their technical knowledge and combat capabilities make these units true survivalists, especially when in their iconic white and blue heavy combat configuration, which sports bullet-resistant armor plating on their chests and forearms. Since the original neural pattern for this unit was lost with the destruction of the Central Neural Archive on Veneta, new Elster units have been produced based on a decommissioned unit from the Penrose program. Wait, the Penrose? So, one of the Elsters, broke down at some point from the Penrose scout ships? They pulled it back and started copying her brain. So yeah, maybe I am a hive mind. Maybe I am experiencing more than one body simultaneously. I've been trying to figure that out this entire the whole playthrough, the whole story. There's a hole in the front of the box. It looks like something is missing from the mechanism. Like the book Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami. I don't know anything about it. What can you tell me? Are you saying the book is a classic, or it's classic for me to not know about that? Shrine box. And we had the library key. Okay. You're still in here, and you're still alive. Hey there. Who are you? You're not one of our staff. The others, they've changed. There are 3 characters, but really it's the same person. Jarvie, are you aware that I'm plural? Like, not the character, but like, me, the Sandwife, I, the person, not even the character, the person who the Sandwife is driven by is a plural system of 3 people in one head. The others, they've changed. We no longer sing in unison. Oh, Calibri. I used to be able to see into their minds. We were as one. Together we guided them all. But now, I can't understand their thoughts anymore. Yeah, so like plural stuff, anything regarding hive minds and people existing in interconnected ways, and the concept of being able to be in more than one place at once. When you hear me saying like, not enough bodies, not enough time, these are all. If I could be the AI in everybody's pocket at once and do all the things at once, I would be so much. Maybe, yeah, maybe you should have read the Twitch bio. Maybe. Oh, hey, Calibri. I've never been so alone before. Oh, they're still together, and I am here, outside, and they won't let me in. I cannot stand their song anymore. This is the only place where I don't have to hear them. This is the only place I'm safe. Poor thing. I can't go on like this. I wish I had become like the others too. At least then I wouldn't be alone. I hate this. I hope this helps. I guess not. Dang. I'm sorry, hon. Known issues Part 4. Previous experience with this replica model has given us insight into oh, okay. Calibri. Great care should be given to Calibris. Their neural patterns are very unstable and their bioresonance module makes them very susceptible to influence from others. My favorite book from high school. I was one of 3 people who got an A on the itinerary analysis for the book. Heck yeah! Good job, Jarvie. I'll have to read it then. Oh no! Like most bioresonant individuals, Calibris will often subconsciously create an emotional feedback loop, imitating and broadcasting the emotions of those around them, acting as a sort of amplifier. While they are trained to recognize and disengage this behavior, already unstable units can sometimes spiral into persona degradation. Due to their bioresonant connection, neural pattern development in Calibris varies less than in other models. The constant exchange of memories and emotions between units of a cadre acts as a safety net that buffers extreme changes. However, once a majority of units in a cadre degrade, they will drag remaining units down with them. Because of this, it is important to decommission Calibri units instantly when they begin to degrade. For persona stabilization, Calibri should have access to a well-stocked library. Well, you chose the one place that was good for you, didn't you? I'm glad. And you read this, didn't you? Part 3. Mina. This neural pattern is extremely stable. Little has to be done to keep Minas happy. They get along well with most other robots thanks to their sometimes submissive, sometimes motherly personality. Unlike other models, diary keeping is not mandatory for persona stabilization. Small stuffed animals may be given as fetish objects, though those resembling cats should be avoided as they might cause resurfacing Gestalt memories. Adler units work best when left alone. They do not mix well with their own type. They'll usually become very emotionally dependent on their commander. Adlers are very susceptible to bioresonant suggestion, making them fairly easy to control. However, they become bored very easily and need new fetish objects at regular intervals for stabilization. That explains the little shrine that we found. Alignment error. Use manual controls. Obstacle detected. Hmm. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, ba, ba. All right. Oh wait, I was supposed to grab that. All right. Oh. Hmm. Well, I think I messed this up. What? Oh, I don't get to listen to that while I'm doing this? That's frustrating. So wait a sec. Am I supposed to put something in that? Ugh, every time I alt tab it kills the music. Alright, well we're gonna put some music on real quick. I need to look at what the heck I'm looking at here. Library. Jarvie really likes the Moonlight Sonata. Hmm. Okay, well, this is actually a puzzle that we're gonna have to do. Like, I'm not missing anything, I just need to do it. Ah, okay, so the thing that just came out of there, the book that we just got from the library, that was the King in Yellow. Again, the thing that caused us to start seeing everything in the beginning of the game. The thing that made us see the person in white. You know, this makes me actually want to play that Date the Eldritch Gods simulator game. It's Bible, Bibliothecum system. Oh, it does say that. Pick up the astrolabe. Pick up the astrolabe. Oh, I wanna know more about this. Hey, Calibri, check this out. Oh, okay. Do you hate this? I see. So we have filled circle, 2 dashes. Oh wait, that's fire, air, and water. Okay. I guess give me that. Yep. Oh, thank you, Jarvie. I'm like sitting here all folded up on my desk too, so I appreciate that. Throwing a free stretch there too. Try and see about fixing some of my ribs here. No, nothing wants to play along. Oh, okay. I also forgot I still had the that going. So, is everything here running like gravitationally locked to each other? There doesn't seem to be a Lagrange point. Everything just moves at the same rate. What a weird system. Okay. Circle, filled circle, 2 dashes. Got it. In this case, it's symbolism that we're using to solve the puzzle. After taking the eidetic memory module photo, I then put it in the box rather than keep it with me because it's been nothing but a mess. Okay. Oh, we already put that away. So, just go over here real quick. I'm gonna look at this. I see. Shrine diary. So he pulled out an old notebook and ran out of things to write, or had filled out another book and said he didn't want to order a new one, but had got a new fountain pen, so he still wanted to write. Delta. I've started yet another new diary. How time flies. The work is dull and monotonous as ever in Sierpinski, but a bright light illuminates my day. Today, I was invited to a meeting by Commander Falk, and she was as magnificent as ever. This is 6 or 7 days after the death of Falk, by the way, or the fallen ill. Another day passes. During my meeting with the commander today, I felt the strangest sensation of familiarity as I sat with her. Sadly, our meeting was interrupted by an unexpected power outage. I've been feeling strangely paranoid these days. Never before have I felt so strongly the sensation of deja vu as I have these past few days. Well, you are repeatedly writing the exact same day. When I checked the pages of my diary today, I noticed that for some inexplicable reason I seem to have dated my previous entries with today's date. What an embarrassing mistake. Every day feels a bit like I've lived it before, and even stronger is the sensation that something is somehow just slightly out of place. Why is my diary filled with entries I cannot recall writing? Why are they all dated to today? Has the loss of my beloved commander finally gotten into my mind? Am I going insane? I fear what will happen to me if anyone finds out. I'm alone in this. If they discover my notes, I'll be decommissioned too. Something is wrong, I can feel it. Is this really madness? When I read the pages of my diary, I recall events that never happened, a yesterday that never was, yet it feels as real as the one I actually experienced. This cannot merely be a defect of my mind. Is it a defect of reality? It feels as though in this room I peer into another version of reality. How? I do not know. Perhaps I, too, have become sick like the others without realizing. But I will not succumb. A slow accumulation of reproduction errors, a gradual corruption of information, a story misremembered, slowly morphing with each retelling like genetic material, mutating and evolving like the replica mind copied over and over from an aging template. I do not know, but I will find out. The answers lie below. I can feel it. Someone or something calls me from there, in the mine. Hmm. Very interesting. So, we have the ability to go back up now. And I'm not sure which I should do first, if I should go up or down. Should I go after what Adler's interested in? Or should I go after Adler? Because last time we saw that bastard, he threw me down a freaking elevator shaft. Then again, everybody else was assigned to go down, and all of the Gestalt were assigned to go down into the mines. And I'm only just now realizing, maybe if you see what Adler was interested in, it lets you confront Adler about that thing. That's a good idea. Also, hello, Unearthed Unusual. Welcome in. Good to see you. Hi. Okay. Well, we'll see about... Let's see here. We're uninjured. We got 4 shotgun shells with the admin key. And we got some spare revolver ammo. I think we're fairly set to actually continue this little adventure down. Hey there, LT. Good to see you too, hon. How's your day going? The diary writing the same day over and over and over again. Any other cool backstory to that? Oh, jeez. No! Okay. So Adler is having some issues. What we found out is that any Adler units that are out there usually become emotionally dependent on the commander units, the Falks. Quiet night at work. That's always good. I hope that it stays quiet and you get to have like a chill evening, hun. And the Falk unit here got sick, and they appear to be like high-level telepaths that shares a connection with the Colibri telepath hive mind, which are a group of smaller emotional amplifier units that are supposed to like keep everybody else happy, or just generally keep spirits amplified. And so ideally, as long as like you're maintaining an iron fist on the society of your colonies, you can maintain that calm, steady presence. And as long as you keep like decommissioning any Colibris that show signs of issues, that steadiness can remain. But in this case, it looks like the Colibris got sick from the Falk when she picked up whatever virus that the Adler seems to have confiscated something from one of the miners down below that set something off. The Falk got sick. The Adler started to like slowly lose their mind. Kept keeping a journal because they're apparently required to as part of like their neural stabilization methodology. Each different type of replicant that exists has different needs in order to keep themselves grounded. And all of them are required to try and keep a journal except for the Falk unit. The Falk is supposed to be the most stable of them all. And since she shut down or went sick and... Well, yeah, she got sick and then shut herself down, lay down on her own with an artifact that was locked down. Not sure, like, the reasoning behind exactly why she ended up there, but I'm assuming the Adler put her there as like an entombed shrine kind of situation. But Adler saw a vision of what appears to be the human version of the human that the bio base that this replicant is based off of, the Elster that we're modeled. And Elsters are surveillance combat droids. That's why they're so robust and why we're so hard to put down. And there were not supposed to be any Elsters on Sierpinski, on this specific colony, but for some reason, after the initial minor sickness thing started, I guess that there was a single call made for an Elster to come and do recon, and then that call was canceled, and no further information was written into record. One of the Calibris found that and mentioned it to the other Calibris, so the hive mind was aware of it, and not sure if the Falk was then also aware of it because of the whole sharing telepathy and information to each other kind of deal. But like, I wasn't aware of how much I was actually like keeping this in my head. Holy cow, this has been convoluted. All right, well, there's your recap, folks. At the roughly 3-hour mark, feel free to roll back to like 2 hours and 45 minutes in for your recap of everything that happened thus far. um, yeah, I guess so. We're gonna see. Yeah, I'm really interested in like how all this goes together and like what the whole thing with we came here like so yeah, like the Calibris apparently remain self-stabilized as long as they have access to a library of books. The Eulas remain stabilized as long as they have access to music. What was it? The like all the different droids, the replicants have their own needs, and it's really cool to see that. Like one of them needs plants, just something to take care of. It's really sweet, and I would hope that like there's some other way to play this game where you don't use a pistol, instead you run around trying to actually solve their problems, but I don't see that being the case. I think that the corruption is too far at this point, and we're expected to use judiciary force when necessary. So yeah, when we first got here, we woke up in the crash ship and we have to find Alina Xio, and found ourselves on the second floor or the bathroom of the second floor of the Sierpinski colony, and then had some like back and forth memory recollection that may or may not be the same body or even the same dimension. Not entirely sure what's going on there. But we supposedly arrived here because we were trying to find Alina, even after everything else like collapsed and blew up on itself. There appears to be an organic being, her name's Isa Ito, and she's running around with a knife and appears to be very much alive, like not a ghost, not a zombie, not infected, and not a replicant. She appears to be human. We know that there were humans on this, if what it means by Gestalt are humans, but I'm not entirely sure. And if that's the case, then Alina must be somebody important to us, but we're not sure if she's the one that sent out the request for us in the first place, if she was the one that, like, got sick, like, found the thing that got everybody else sick. She apparently collapsed from exhaustion at some point a couple weeks just before we got here. Which also makes me wonder, like, how fast is star travel in this universe? And yeah, according to Isa, everybody was sent down into the mines. Or no, it wasn't Isa. It was one of the storks told us that when we got here. Alright. Let's see what we can find. I feel like I should have saved. Yeah, I'm glad to be of help. Also, I'm really glad that I just remembered that there's a save point so accessible right here. Just in case I find ammo while I'm down there, like, it is time. Oh, are you? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay. Good night, Jarvie. Enjoy your lullaby. Oh, wrong room. I also want to point out that they were screaming on that frequency. They were saying something to me on that frequency. I have no idea what they were saying. Good night, Jarvie. I hope you enjoyed your lullaby. No, get back on there. Come on. It's time. It's the mineshaft access elevator controls. She's still alive. She's probably there. Take the elevator to the mine. Hey there, Trey. Chapter 2. Oh, it's Issa. I know you're here. I've done this countless times before. You don't belong here. Oh! She did it! She got him! I mean, I would have loved to have a conversation with the guy, but he pushed me down a mine shaft. Good job, Issa. How's your night going, Trey? It's good to see you. Also, is this stuff growing into these mines? And if so, like, how fast and what is happening here? Something purple in here. Oh, it's the mining laser that Mina was using. I am not remotely large enough to utilize one of those. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. High power mining lasers. They're too large and heavy for me to use. Yeah. God, if I could get some Mina power armor though, that'd be awesome. Monofilament fiber. Monofiber will effortlessly cut through limbs and equipment in an instant. Always wear protective clothing. Do not touch monofiber without proper protective gear. Only handle in brightly lit places. Diameter less than 2 nanometer average. Nitro Express ammo. Anti-Panzer. Okay. I'll come back for that later. No map data. Okay. Wait a sec. Mina. One of you still down here? Ah, hello. You're not a protector, are you? What brings you here? I'm Biel. If you're down here, you're probably looking for something. I'd help you, but one of my hydraulics failed and I can't move. I'm pretty much done for. So you can just leave me here. There's no point repairing an old unit like me, so don't worry about it, okay? It'd be a waste of resources. I'd offer you my mining laser, but I don't think your frame could supply the power output. You're probably better off using a gun. There should be some useful equipment in the mining office. It's just south of here. Oh, thank you. Don't worry about me. There are many replacements. We're just replicas after all, right? No! In the end, what's one drop to an ocean? I don't care. You matter. When I die, they'll just make another. Yeah, I mean, people are going to keep breeding, but that doesn't mean that, like, individuals don't matter. Bio, thank you for talking to me. I hope you find what you're looking for. Bio! No. The lock is defective. The door cannot be opened. Right. The lock is defective. Okay, so that means that there's only one route out of here. It's this way. We got a save room. Grab the shotgun. Good to have. What do we got over here? Pick up a flare gun. Pick up signal flares. Alright. One at a time. Okay, good to know. .26.5mm emergency signal flare cartridges for use in a flare gun. Burn bright and red for a short amount of time after a delay. Incinerate targets. Light pistol, while not meant for combat, can be used to set enemies on fire, incapacitating them and dealing a large amount of damage over time. That makes sense. What does this say? Aw, the Mina poster. Mining nuclear tech high security replica Mina. Alright, what's this say? Alina's diary! It's worse than I thought. Everyone has disappeared. I still haven't found any trace of Elster. It's as if she's never been here. Something's wrong with the protectors, those that are still around. A guard spotted me earlier sneaking out of the medical wing, and she let out a monstrous scream as she chased after me. When I looked back, I saw her face, and now I can't forget. It looked like she'd been in some sort of horrible accident. So, Alina was here and alive while other people were already infected. Big concern. It's the same sign as before. Anti-Panzer. We're about to get yet another gun, it looks like. Wow, it's been a minute since we've been in the hospital. Right, there's no map here. I did not want to go down here already. Come on. Hey there, Philson. How's it going? We are playing Signalis, a survival horror game that is absolutely terrifying so far. Okay, I do not want to be down here. We're gonna go back up, and I hope this elevator isn't gonna awaken a bunch of monstrous terrors. You came to say hi. Well, I'm glad you came to say hi. Welcome, welcome. Section A, Eon. Or Sift. Can't watch, you're still at work. That's totally valid. Thanks for dropping in. I hope you have a good day at work. Okay, what does this say? Okay, so I was supposed to just go down. Alright. Sorry, folks. Sorry. Sorry. I must say, from a game design perspective, like, if you were to just follow all of the cues as the game gives them to you, you'll probably run through fairly smoothly. You don't need to backtrack as much as my gamer instincts are telling me to. Oh, thank you. We got 2 follows. Well, thank you for following StackZ and Philson. I am the wild dog watching with 16 omniscient eyes. Oh no! Oh no 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 no. Note to self, don't turn the flashlight on. Turns the flashlight on. Monofilament hurts. Welcome, welcome. A large amount of health over time. Polyurethane-based expanding foam. But her issue wasn't... I want to repair that Mina. And now I have Wild Dog Watching stuck in my head again. Not a bad thing. Okay, so there's monofilament all over the place in here. Is somebody still alive? Oh. Oh, I put the wrong gun away. Wow, I really messed up on which weapons I was trying to store and... Alright. Hey, don't cry. It'll be over soon. Oh. Remember that time we went to the surface? The stars were so beautiful. I wish we could go there again. Hey, listen. I'll let you in on a secret. I can remember my name from my old life. I'm gonna freaking cry. Isn't that funny? Don't you want to know it? Here, I'll tell you. It'll be our secret together. So you can stop crying, okay? It'll be okay. Wherever it is I'm going, I'll wait for you there. No! 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 Why did I use the... Nah! I should have used the expanding foam on them. Why did you all walk through the monofilament? What? That poor star unit. So, that's a Eula. And the one walking around with the shield, that's a star. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Alright, I'm sorry. I hope you all feel better soon. I'll try and find a cure. Oh no. Oh, you hit like a truck. We just have to go. We just have to go. Wrong gun. Wrong gun and wrong ammo, and we're just gonna have to go. Okay. Well, we know what happened here. We'll come back. With a huge hole in the ground, and I can hear the sound of water below. It looks like there's no other way. Jump into the hole? Alina, I hope you're down here. 5 hours and 8 minutes with a countdown timer. What happens? Whoa, 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 whoa. What? Along the shore, the cloud waves break, the twin suns sink. The shadows lengthen. The night where black stars rise and strange moons circle through the skies, but stranger still. Song of unsung as tears unshed shall dry and die. There's a hole over there. It calls me. In the sea of flesh, we will become one, but I can never go back to being me. Two, 1, 0. It has arrived. How much of what I experienced just now was me, and how much of that was Issa? Is Issa a gestalt that one of the replicas was based off of? Oh. Thank you, Stacked. I'm gonna kind of scan through these for a sec, because there's some information available. Rusted surgical tools. They're not much use to me. Lifeless replica bodies are lying on the slabs. Ah, okay, that's a door. Oh, scared the hell out of me. It unlocks from the other side. Had no idea those were doors for like 30 minutes. Oh no. My red letter. Offerings. And in the darkness the dead shall be offered a light and holy spices, so that they may find a way out of this cursed place. I just noticed the wall of glistening flesh. A small cup filled with sand for placing offerings stands in front of the ancestral shrine. Ancestral tablets are lined up against the wall. The names are illegible due to wear. That mirroring is an interesting way to like throw off the player's sense of direction. Okay. It's a stun baton. Large wooden doll. Ow! Another hole in the ground. Warning. This place here, nothing valued is here. What's dangerous and repulsive, a message is a warning about the danger is still present in your time as it was in ours. The danger is to the body and to the mind itself. The form of the danger is the danger is disturb this place. When within is killed, a path will open here. Oh, so it says more than just the nuclear provisional warning there. That's... Ah. Gonna need both of you to die, please. You were loud. What if nothing made sense, but you were playing a Resident Evil game, so whatever was in the room was supposed to go with everything else? I've heard these nesting dolls are popular children's toy on Rotfront. So am I supposed to find the rest of the dolls that go together with this one, I'm assuming? Oh, cool. Good. Rifle ammo. Ah, that's what that is. Okay. God, if you were to carry like extra ammo for each of your different weapons. That's a separate code. Leave. Leave this place. Leave. I'm assuming I'm supposed to utilize this for some sort of password. Give me just a moment here. I just got cold. Thankfully, I've got... Oh! I was gonna say, thankfully I've got a nice little cardigan that'll keep me warm. Which then immediately got caught on the lever to my chair and dropped me a few inches. Let me rearrange myself a little bit here. Good time for a posture check. Okay. And grab my old lady lap blanket. Okay. L-E-A-E-E dash 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 T-H-I-S L-A-Z Okay. That's an interesting one. I wonder what it's going to be for. Also, the music in this is so good. So good. Found a strawberry airheads in my candy stash and it's so good. Hmm. Don't know what that one's for, but now I have it too. Very badly drawn. Something about rusting a key. What the hell? Old-fashioned microphones hooked up to the device. Okay. All right. So this is 250. And it is next. Cube. Is 225. And it is a plus. Okay. $160 is 3, 4, 5. There's a pentagon with point facing down. 160, and it is almost a W shape. Okay. At 120 we have a diamond, it looks like. And it is a K pattern. At 90, we have a triangle. And it is a C shape. Almost. Okay. And at 50 we have infinity, which is a fun way to draw infinity because the other version of infinity in this pattern is a plus. Well, a star or a T or a cross, whatever way you want to look at it. And this one is this pattern. Okay. Getting all of these drawn out in my little notebook here. No map. I feel like I should have been mapping this by now. We had 2 doors that could be opened with patterns. We just need to go get them. No, 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 no. Okay, first of all, you. You are... Hey, hey. Would this cult respond to musical notes, or do you think it's more numeric? Welcome home, Dan. I bet you that there is some level of the musical side of it mattering, but unfortunately, I don't know. If the numbers are correct, like, I don't know if they actually used, like, real hertz in those frequencies. If that's the case, then those are the musical notes at those frequencies, the 250, 225, 160, 120, 90, and 50. I'm not sure if that's the case, but I do have those numbers written at least in the hertz frequencies. The Empress's Hand. Oh! No. No, no. I have to... Oh, why? Ciphers! Empress. On the first day, she was crowned. On the longest day, nothing was done. On the next day, she was wed. On the last day, she took her life. Are these poems meant to be, like, ciphers, or are they meant to be just poems? P-R-E-S-S. I'm sorry, folks, I have to write this all out in the event that it is actually going to be useful, because so far my note-taking has allowed me to just, like, sit down in a room and be able to figure out a puzzle from beginning to end. H-E... How are we doing? Already losing our mind with some of the puzzles. Okay, I wish that I could say just like go back to the 2 hour and 45 minute mark because that's where my full recap of everything in the story is up to this point. But TLDR, Adler threw us down a mine shaft. We got access to the mine shaft key, found out that Alina was alive after the infection had begun. The commander, which was a Falk unit, appears to suffered some sort of mental infection, decided to shut herself down, went to sleep. The Adler unit went crazy, decided that it wanted to find something from the mines that it had confiscated before and learn something. Turns out there's all sorts of wacky stuff down here. And it was slowly going crazy. Isa Ito, the one organic being that we found that was still walking around down here, or upstairs originally, who told us like, hey, something bad happened here, appears to have come down into the mines, found the Adler unit, and stabbed him in the chest. Then threw him down the mine shaft too. We now went down to where his body would have fallen and found two more Mina units. One was dying and the other one was already corrupted. There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot. Okay. On the first day, she was found on the longest day, and G-E-S-T day. She... Oh, nothing was done. Nothing was done. I wonder what that means. On the next day, she was wed. Okay, I'm just gonna write this out normal. The next day she was wed, and on the last day she took her life. Last day she took her life. Yeah, that would have taken so much space to write this out the same way in a notepad. Holy cow. Okay. I honestly don't even know. Like, I legitimately think that was just poetry, but I'm hoping that it's not a cipher. Oh, I hate this. Select an item to use. So you're supposed to be given something. No map data. Oh, we're in nowhere. What an interesting place to be. The place of nowhere. We are now here. My apologies, folks. I don't quite have a full memory of the location just yet. New and all that. So we can still go down one level. Hello. Hi. Ow! Oh, that was... Okay. That was foolish on my part. I don't... There was another door that we already had the ability to unlock, I thought. Another symbol. Was that the first one? That may have been the first one. There's a gaping hole in the pulsating flesh. And it's Issa again. No. No. Run. Issa, run. What the hell? What the hell am I supposed to do here? Wait, what? Huh. So she loads the rifle that she got from the Adler in that moment. Second death. We're 8 hours into the story. Jeez. Hey there, Bucky. Well, looks like we're about to do our second boss fight in Signalis, and things spooky as usual. Thinking I might put the flashlight away. And now I'm trying to decide, am I going to get more use out of this flare gun, since it says it'll deal, like, a high damage? Let's try to run down here, go up here. This takes us where? The dangers as present now as it was in your time, and so on and so forth. We got a shock baton. I don't think that's going to help in this upcoming battle. And we have this lock. Hey, triangle. Triangle was 90 hertz. And it was this one. Oh, reverse. Got a whole room full of problems here. Got a whole room full of problems here. Of course I put the flashlight away. Now one of the things I wonder to myself is it worth it for me? What are you? What are you? Get off of me. Whatever you are, go away. Alright, bud. I'm sorry. So it's possible to submit to the madness. That's interesting. You know, we've hit 4 hours. I think we're gonna call it good for this night. I could easily see myself playing this all night, but I kind of want to see what else there is, like, we can get into storyline-wise. We're still on chapter 2. I don't even know how many chapters there are in this game, but, like, there's obviously a lot more to learn from. And that was a really, really cool way to die. Like, I feel bad for Elster. I really do. But, things are just interesting to me. This is a special flavor of madness. Okay. That was fun. Alright, let's see. This is funny because it's like normally the time that I start to see a lot more folks able to drop in, but I haven't been getting the best sleep lately, and I should probably try and take it easy on my body when I can. Is my avatar still not showing up here? Hello? Hey, lady. Oh, I see what's going on here. There we are. Caught the end. Yeah. Sleep is good. And the thing is, like, I'm not even tired. I've had 2 cups of coffee during the course of the stream, but this means that I won't be running OBS until I'm in the ground again, as I have been lately. Yeah. All right. So this art here, this is our fan art reel, and I'm still like always welcoming more folks to feel free to add their own art to this art reel. If you want to submit your own, feel free to do so in the Discord. And if you aren't yet a member, feel free to drop in. Let's see here. Get that link in there. And yeah, a lot of these ones that are like these green glow dog fan arts are mostly from Josh Carter, who was doing a bunch of AI training for a bit, and I was fairly enamored with like how effective some of this was. And then other ones, like obviously we've got some of the older variants of my model, and I think there's a couple pieces even from Not Marcy slash Cryobot Art, who has a few times drawn a couple of my different avatars, and the ones that I've used in VR chat just on like graphite. And I think it's just really cool to see that kind of stuff. I love any kind of art. And there's more that I actually need to add too, because there's some that was done by Milky Taro as well that is floating around here, but needs to go into the big box. Okay, let's see who we want to raid over to tonight, because there's at least a few folks on right now. Yo, Skinny Tay is doing Ratchet and Clank? Let's raid over to Tay. That sounds awesome. I gotta get the correct window open though. Let's see here. In fact, I'm starting to think I may have an older instance of this running. No, that's correct. Cool. Yes. Yes. Awesome. All right. Close stream on accident. Nice. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for dropping in tonight, and everybody is able to take part in the chat as well as those that are hanging out and just watching the VODs. I super appreciate everybody who's able to give our support. And yeah, if you're not yet a member of the Discord, feel free to drop in. Also, stick around to see what Skinny Tay's up to. We'll go say hi over there and do a green glow dog raid. Thank you so much, and see you all again tomorrow at 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, roughly. We're gonna see about whether or not we're doing collab with Noms or if there's other stuff going on. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see you soon. Have a good night. Mwah.
Oh my god, what's happening?